Hello, I'm Louise Hay from Be Healing, and this is lesson 6, and this is about alignment. And so from the last lesson, you've done that exercise now, maybe a few times or maybe just once, of finding out what your true worth is. And you've learned, asked yourself whether you can set your prices at that level now, whether you can set your job at that level now. Maybe you can give up a job and reapply for a job. And if that is aligned, and if you're aligned with that, if that feels good for you to do that and you've done that straight away, then that's great. That means you're aligned with it and you are just completely ready to do that. It's so fantastic. Now the majority of you, if that was the case, if you're aligned with it, you would have done it long ago. And so the majority of you will not have felt that ready to do that at all. So what that's showing you is when you don't feel ready to throw the job away and go for one that's at that level, or go in and ask your employer for a raise because you know that you're offering way more value than you're actually receiving back, or if you're not ready to put your prices up to what your higher self knows that you're worth, then this is showing you that there is a distance, that there's you're not aligned with what your higher self knows that you're worth, and so your heart and maybe your mind are not agreeing with your higher self. And that doesn't feel good when that happens. That doesn't feel good at all, because it may be that there's a part of your mind that knows that you're worth that knows that you're providing this great service, or you're providing that value to the world. Yet there's part of you that doesn't really want to accept it. Now what do you do if this is the case? Because alignment is key. Alignment is the process that we go through before we can actually receive anything in our lives. And so if you were to put up your prices anyway, if you were just to put them up before you felt good about it, then you wouldn't get good results from that, because if you do anything without feeling good, you're not going to get results from it. And so a way to align yourself with doing that, with changing your prices or going for that job or asking for that raise, you need to convince yourself, and you need to make yourself feel good about it. And so what I suggest you do is to write down all of the positive reasons that you should raise your prices or ask for that raise or go for the job at that level. And really write as many as you can. I'm talking, write 1 to 100 and make sure that you fill them all in with this. And think of it not just from your how you feel you should be worthy of that, but also of how much value you're actually giving, of what it is that you're actually giving. Think about the value that your customers or your employers are getting from you. Just write all of these things down and justify it to yourself in that way. And as you do this, as you're writing all of these reasons down, then you're going to bring your mind and your heart up to that level that your higher self knows your worth. The next thing I want you to do is write down again 1 to 100, and write down all of the ways, all the drawbacks, all of the negative things that you can think of about keeping yourself at that lower level. And so think of, how you wouldn't be able to serve even more people, how you're kind of limiting yourself, how it stops you from giving as good service as you could give, how it stops you from feeling good so that you're not going to do as much work for your employer. Write all of these things down of how it's actually not benefiting you to stay at the level that you're at the moment. And again, just write as many as you can, make sure that all of those 100 spaces are filled. And this is going to show you that it's not right, it's going to convince you that it's not right for you to stay at this level that you've been pitching yourself at, because you're actually stopping yourself from expanding and giving the true service that you really want to give. It's kind of holding you back. And once you've written these lists of 100 things, then ask yourself again, then think about putting your prices up again or throwing away the job and going for another one that's at your higher self's level. Think about asking for the raise and really feel into that, and are you ready yet? And if you're not ready, if you're still not feeling ready after you've written those 100, two sets of 100 reasons why you should, then what we need to look at now is what it is that's holding you back from that. And so what it is in your self-worth that is not aligned with that. And it may not be around money, okay? There will be some kind of an aspect in your life of where you're kind of falling short on the self-worthiness scale, which is not, it's making you not aligned with this financial or this material kind of side of things. And so it's really important to kind of pinpoint what those are. And so you can look, kind of take a look at your life and at all of the aspects of your life and just feel the areas in which you're not feeling truly worthy. And when you find something in your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a certain situation that you're in, it might be something like you're living in a really horrible house. It could be that the area that you live in isn't where you're wanting to live and isn't aligned with you receiving abundance. It could be that you are in the right kind of house, the right kind of place, but you've got like op shop or a charity shop kind of things within your house, and you're not giving yourself them or allowing yourself to have those things that would align you. It might be that your clothes are all a mess, and you're not feeling worthy enough to dress yourself properly. It might be the food that you eat. You might be going to the shop and buying all the bargain things. You might be getting the value things that haven't got as high nutritional content. You might pick up the things that are out of date. Your cupboards might be full of really cheap things. You might not allow yourself to go to the events and things that you really want to go to because there's this little voice saying, no, that's too much money. All of these things, anything that you're doing, any way that you're devaluing yourself in your life like that is going to have an impact. It's going to stop you from being able to align and set yourself at that level. And so anything that you can do to raise your value and set you up in the direction that you want to go is going to help you. Now, this isn't about the material stuff. So if you're like, for me right now, I'm just realizing that I'm doing this and I work from this IKEA table, which is really wobbly, it's really old, it's got like paint all over it and scratches all over it, and it's small. And at my level, really, I should have a beautiful desk right here. Sometimes I'll knock the table and the whole video will start shaking and I'll have to start again. And so now I'm seeing now that I'm holding myself back by working at a table like this. And it's not about the table, it's not about the material possession, it's not about me really having to go to a high kind of class shop and buy myself a beautiful desk to work from. It's not about the material thing, it's about the feeling that has been within me, the lack of self-worth for me to keep on working from a desk like this. It's not really fulfilling its purpose, but I do actually deserve to have a better desk than this because I'm sat at it for like 5 days a week for 7 hours a day, and I deserve to have a better desk than this. And so once you start really looking, you'll see many ways that you are kind of devaluing yourself in your life. And as you start to put those things right, then abundance is going to start flowing to you more. Things in my path recently have been, I had a dishwasher and I wasn't using it. I was spending my time washing my dishes instead, even though dishwashers these days are using less water, and there's really no reason for me to be washing the dishes by hand when the dishwasher's there. And so I started using the dishwasher more. We had a cutlery drawer full of mismatching cutlery from different sets that me and my partner had, and they were all really bad condition, and we were eating off them and using them, and And so I got online and found a beautiful brush set, and they weren't even that expensive. They were just really nice, and they're really nice to use, and they make us feel good when we use them now. Similarly, we were eating off plates that were all cracked, had cracks in the glazing, the chipped where we, lift them out the dishwasher and then knock them on the marble surfaces, and it chips them. And we were eating off plates and bowls like this, and had sets where we'd smashed some of them, and so if we were sat down for a meal, we'd have mismatching plates and all of this. And we did have actually a really good plate set, and so we went out to the shop and said, right, we've got to change this. We'll throw all the broken ones away, but then we'll keep the stuff that is kind of okay, and for my son, because he'll be moving out probably sometime soon, and so we'll keep things aside so to set him up, so it's really easy for him to start when he sets off before he kind of does the same thing for himself and then improves himself. So I bought a couple of dinner sets, so now we've got really nice matching things and mugs and everything that matches. Same with the glasses, all of our glasses were like that. And so I went through the house doing this kind of thing, and I've obviously not got to this desk yet, and that's a really important part of it, because my work and the things that I have around me to work off are really important. And so you're going to find these same kind of things. You're going to look around you and kind of see where you're not really valuing yourself, and not allowing yourself to have those things. You might say, well, first of all, I need the abundance before I change these things, because you need abundance to be able to buy these things. And I'm here to tell you that's not really true. And you will have experienced this not to be true in some ways in your life as well. You will have experienced that when you raise your level with something, and so say you have moved house and your mortgage payments go up, you will experience that somehow you earn that extra money to cover those mortgage payments. And say pretty much everyone's got internet now, and you have got you've got on a certain package for your internet and your phone and all of that, and you find that you need more than that. You need it faster, you need it bigger, or whatever. And so you go for a higher price deal. Again, somehow it all just seems to get paid, For myself, I moved into this beautiful house that I'm in right now, and this is $600 a week. And we moved from a house that was $220 a week. And so that's a huge jump in amounts. And we only seem to be getting by when we're in the other one. But as soon as we moved here, we were getting by in this one as well, even though it was so much more money. And the reason that I could do that is because I have this tremendous faith, and I know that the universe provides for me. It might take you increments and kind of testing the universe a little bit to be able to get to that same kind of level. But you might be able to just say, okay, if it works for her, it's going to work for me, and just go for it. Same with if you need to replace things. Just don't hold back from that. Set out to do it. Set out as if you've already got the money there, and the universe will just give you that money for it. As long as you think that you're not going to have enough and it's going to be a struggle, it's going to be a struggle. As soon as you allow yourself, you open up and say, actually, I deserve that. I'm going to go and look for a desk. And as I go and look for a desk, customers are going to buy my products and everything, and suddenly, as soon as I find one that I like, the money's going to be there for it. And I'll know that the universe has given me that amount of money because I've been looking for the desk, and so I shouldn't spend it on the bills or anything else because it's for that desk. And so take a look around, write down all of those things where you're kind of falling short. I know Oprah said it really well. And Oprah, she's got so much money. She's in abundance in so many ways. And yet she realized when she was getting dressed for a workout one day, and she was sniffing her workout gear to see if it was okay to put on again. And she realized what she was doing and said, I'm Oprah Winfrey. I've got so much money. Why am I sniffing this? I can just get a whole new fresh set of clothes on. In fact, for every workout that I do, I can have a fresh set of clothes. It's that kind of realization, and the more you grow in abundance, the more that you allow yourself that, the more you're going to figure out where you're kind of holding yourself back in these ways. And so this will be a fun process as well. So writing all of those things down that you where you're kind of holding yourself back, and changing that. Set out to change that. And so this is going to bring you in line, aligned with what your higher self knows that you're worth, and it's going to make that process of actually changing your prices or going for that job or going for that raise that you really want, and feeling good about it. So don't make those changes until you feel good about it. And all of these ways that I've talked about today are going to make you feel good about it. So happy aligning with your true worth. And thank you for listening.